And we are recording.
Hey,
Hey, hey.
hello, Ma.
Nice to meet you. And you are Jamal?
Yes,
Yeah, nice to meet you,
100% Ma.
Jamal.
Nice to meet you too, Ma.
So, tell you what, let's start out with you giving me a little bit of your background. You're in Australia right now, right? So it's like 10 p.m. there. I can see it's dark outside.
Yes, it is. As you can see, it's dark.
Yeah,
Melbourne, Australia. Um, I'm
excellent.
a yeah, French bred in
Hmm.
Australia since 2016. Enjoying it so far.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm from Canada and I've been in Portugal about 2 months now, but I lived 13 years in Mexico and I was in Colombia for a couple of years. So I haven't
Uh,
spent actually that much time as an adult in Canada.
and how about Australia? Have you been there before?
Not yet. Not yet. It's on the list. Yeah,
Good.
it's on the
Good.
list. So tell me a little bit about your background, your business, what the idea is, where you're at right now, where you want to take it. Just give me the whole picture here so I can understand it.
Sure. So my background is I'm an architect.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been working in architecture for now 10 years. Been doing that for maybe 6, 7 years in France, some other places in Europe, United States, Dubai. Um, and yeah, in Australia since 2016, I've been, my passion is creating. So I'm a big creative mind. So um, I have a vision of spaces and I like to have an impact on the space and transform. Very curious, and I've been passionate about something totally different a couple of months ago, which is e-commerce, and that's
Mm-hmm.
where we met and how we met with a Style and Scale group. And so yeah, I've started e-commerce just to understand the difference between. I'm a one-on-one person, so my job is to meet someone, and I've always been working face to face, see the impact. And I was really passionate about the boom of the internet and the e-commerce and how from a laptop you can have an impact of 10, 100,000 and million of people if you're very good. And being curious about that, been working with Shopify and a website doing selfie sticks.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been thinking since day one how uh, branding and the influencer marketing and all those amazing things could be applied to my field, which is interior design, decoration, architecture, cabinetry, and that's where I'm at the moment. I'm restructuring my business in architecture to be able to have a different way of doing it that everybody at the moment, which is competing against each other, just willing to use this course, the Start Scale one, to innovate in my field and being able to bring something new to the industry and the markets. Um,
So, what would you like to? I mean, if we talk about e commerce as a basic concept, right? It's the idea that you come into a website, you see a thing that you're going to buy, and then you buy it, right?
yeah.
Now, what are those things that you want to have in your store? And then we can kind of go into how you can. I mean, what's the who's the person that has the money that's going to do the transaction, and what is the thing that they're buying? What's the idea around that?
Well, the market is fractioned by my main clientele is a retail, the mom and dad. They are 50 something years old. They are well established in life. I'm more into high-end markets.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been working on my target market and understanding my audience. So yeah, they are 50 something. They have kids. This is not their first renovation. They know what they want. They don't want to renovate to renovate. They're not taking a risk if they're spending money. They don't want to do something to think about, oh, if I resell my property, I don't want to lose money. So that's kind of people that want to buy, with emotion. And with the e-commerce, the parallel is, nice branding, cool influencers, and like, what? It costs money, but looks cool. I like the universe. That's what I'm trying to apply to my business, bringing this fancy world to people that, are going to buy to emotion from kitchen, bathrooms, design services.
So are you talking like the design service of you're going to actually help them envision what their new space is going to look like, or are you going to be selling them the sinks and the mirrors and the lights, and it's both?
Both, yeah. So it starts with the service, which is being able to, they have a problem, which is I want to change, bringing the solution about what we can do and providing the products. So there is the service and the products through my suppliers and my installers and the people working from the simple drawing to the end result installation.
Okay. And are you looking to serve the people of Melbourne, or are you looking to have something that is, I mean, you said you have your installers and you have your suppliers, and like there's limitations to that, right? Like, I mean, if you have a really nice tile supplier in Melbourne, it doesn't make sense to send 600 pounds of tile up to Canada where you have to subcontract out to a guy to have him install it there, right? Yeah. What's your vision in terms of who you're going to be serving and where they are?
I've been thinking, to be honest, into the main goal of branding is to be able, maybe in 1-2 years, being able to franchise the brand. So my experience mainly was kitchen retail, so I had stores, so it's easy to duplicate and create a concept and copy and paste. But it already exists. So what I'm looking at doing is just bringing something new, fresh into that. This little cool things. So at the moment it's Melbourne. Australia is huge, but Sydney works. Australia works.
So let me just get into the idea of like, because I started a chain of restaurants, and we grew it up to 3 locations, and the third one was a franchise. And so the idea of the franchise is basically a copyable model that somebody can purchase that business and then run it, right? So what, if we're talking about path, then what you need to do is create a viable path inside of Melbourne to be copied in Sydney that could then be copied in, New Zealand, and then could eventually move on to, all of these different markets. And is that what you're looking to do? So you want to work on making this first model really function well?
Yeah, so I'm building, when we talk about building the audience, so that's why I'm doing now. It's targeting the people, building the clientele, the audience, and so the people from other cities that don't have access to that, physically, generate a demand, and being able to, all right, so this audience exists in this city, in that one, so, we can bring the concept somewhere else and have people taking the concept, the business, and just running their own business through.
Okay, so give me an example of your ideal customer and what their path is. Okay, so for example, like if I'm a McDonald's, my ideal customer is in a hurry and they don't really care about their health, and they want something that's fast and filling and tasty. So they're going to come up to the drive-in, they're going to ask for their order on something that they've ordered before, and then they're going to go through the drive-through, pay, and then leave, right? And that's my customer's journey, right? What is your customer's journey?
My customer journey is people that are looking to bring value to their properties, but they don't want to deal with a salesperson. They don't want to have the feeling to, being sold by people. So they want professionalism. They have time to think about it, but they don't want to shop around. They want to find someone that's going to be able to tell them that, like this, John and Linda, I understand your problem. Here is the solution, and I'm going to look after your project from A to Z. And those people don't have problem with the money. They're of course going to ask to see how much it is, but they want to find someone, which is me, that's going to show them that I understand.
Oh, your video. There we go.
And the skill set and
so what is their path, right? Like, where do they go? What happens once they're there? Like, just as an example, do they come to your website and then upload a picture of their kitchen, and then they can, I mean, for example, if I go to Mazda, I can go and I can see a 3D image of a car spinning around, and I can change the color, and I can change the rims, and I can almost style my own vehicle inside of their web experience. Is it like they're coming to your site so that they can then call you, you can arrive at their property, and you can go through that process? Or what does their path actually look like?
So that's, in terms of keywords, that's people that are gonna type, if we go to kitchen, that's people that are gonna type high-end kitchen, luxury kitchen, quality services. So it's 100% custom made. I don't have that's not off the shelf. So that's people that are gonna have the need of someone coming in, looking at the space and telling them, what, that's what you need, because they don't have the idea. They have the money, but they don't want to think about, what, babe, like, we need to do that. No, they want someone that, all right, website looks professional. I have satisfying photos of existing clients, testimonial, and they just want to feel like they belong to an exclusive world in terms of, all right, services. So they worked hard, they're well established, they have the money, they're happy to hire someone to, all right, we want a successful renovation.
Okay, so I'm gonna like go into an example here. So when they arrive to your website, right? When they get there, they know who you are. Maybe they saw a video of you on Instagram, or maybe they, you're having. I'll give you a really interesting example of a woman who's built herself up like a super brand. Okay, her name is Marie something. She's like a minimalist. She goes into people's houses and she like cleans out their houses and gets rid of all of their junk, and then gives them like this minimalist look to their house, right? So she's like an organizer, right? So you go into the she just has a show on Netflix that was just released, because that's what she's doing, right? Like, she goes into people's lives and like cleans them out and reorganizes them, and you walk into their pantry afterwards and there's like color-coded food, right? Like, it looks just beautiful, right? And what she did was, like, her whole thing was, I like beautiful, clean, minimalist spaces. So I want to create that for people, and that's her service. And then she turned that into a television show. And then off of being a television show, she got so popular that she can now start a line of products. And I think she just had a $10 million or $15 million investment put into her company, so she can launch a line of products that fit what this new minimalist lifestyle looks like once you do it yourself, right? Because you as an artist, right? I consider an architect to be an artist, okay?
Yeah.
The same as a painter, the same as a musician. An architect is an artist of space, right? So as an artist, you can only create so many pieces of art per day or per year or per month, right? You have a limited bandwidth in terms of what you can apply to your time, right? And in order to scale that, you need to be able to, in order to scale your art into a business, right? A musician can only play so many songs in front of one person, right? They turn it into a business by playing a song for a stadium. And then they turn it into a business by making a copy of that song and allowing everybody to have it in their hand, right? So a painter can do the same thing by painting a piece and then having a limited edition number of prints, right? And then potentially putting one of their pieces into a museum, right? So an architect can scale up their art into a business either by, upping the level of the people that they're working for, so they're constantly going for like richer and richer and bigger and better, and then maybe using that credibility to sell their concepts and ideas for potential products, right? You could launch that into a product line, right? Or you can do bigger and bigger projects. I hear that you want to move this into like a product line eventually, right? Or that you can, if you talk about it being a franchise, then the franchise is that you have a set of rules and ideas and concepts that are yours, right? It's your look, right? Frank Gehry is the best example of this on the planet, where, you look at a Frank Gehry building and it's a fucking Frank Gehry building because it's so out there, right?
200%. Yeah.
but Frank Gehry doesn't have a business of franchise. Frank Gehry has a business of looking for interesting projects because that's his passion, right? If you have a certain set of philosophies, right? Maybe you're heavy into a Zen Buddhist, bamboo, minimalist, open spaces, large arches. I don't know what your feel is as your brand, but if these are the things that define you, then you bring on the person who's going to open up your version of this in Singapore or in Dubai, and they almost work under you, right? So that you can then go and set them off and they can have their own branch, right? That's the way that you can make more projects happen. Or you can make it so that there are key pieces that are products that you put into every single one of your builds, and those are the products that can then be replicated and sold to other architects who then, abide by your philosophy in installing your products. You see what I'm saying here?
Yeah, more like manufacturer then.
Well, then you turn into a manufacturer, right? Like the e-commerce side of things is, I want to buy a thing, right? Like I want to buy a mouse, so I see the world's best mouse on on Instagram, and I'm like, oh my god, I have to have that mouse, right? And I buy it, right? That is electronic commerce, right? It is delivered to my house. I can then work with it. Now, on the higher level of electronic commerce is something like Alibaba. So Alibaba is focused on selling to business owners because business owners are then going to resell those products in their store, on their websites, wherever the case may be, right? You're almost looking like from what I mean, if we're talking about products, you'd almost have to be the Alibaba supplying to the architecture world, right? If we're talking about your design philosophy infecting the world the same way that a virus infects the world, right? Then you have to have people who understand your design philosophies and can work with you, that then go out into the world and find the people who are going to feel that, and then they're going to, they're almost like your understudies, right? You're really interesting. I mean, if you think about it, Beethoven, right? Beethoven made certain pieces of music that almost every classical musician can play, right? So classical musicians aren't generally composing new pieces, they're playing pieces from others, right? So if you can look at yourself as a Beethoven, then you can potentially give that, those pieces to others so that they can learn to play them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so is that turning into kind of, understanding the concept and the rules of the way I design space and philosophy, and because it's turning, in my understanding, more into a course than into, we going into a service more than into a product.
So you want a product, right? Because currently you offer a service, but you want a product.
Yeah.
Okay, what product do you want?
That's the dilemma.
That's the dilemma, right?
Cabinetry at the moment, I think it's too big to scale properly.
Not necessarily, actually. No, cabinetry is not too big to scale. It's not. It's actually a really nice thing to scale. Cabinetry generally has to have like a manufacturing hub, and then it's sent out to the distribution places, right? So like if you go for the do-it-yourself type person, then it may be sold in Home Depot, right? But if it's being sold through a cabinetry, like here's an example of one that you wouldn't think of, but like Hunter Douglas, right? Hunter Douglas does window coverings. That's their thing, right? And they have built up a design philosophy, and they've built up a brand, and they've built up a business that is all around window coverings. You go to a Hunter Douglas store and you know that you're going to be getting good quality window coverings, right? You could do like the Hunter Douglas of cabinetry, but what you can't do is be the person who decides how the entire look of the place is going to be, and also be the person who's manufacturing the cabinetry, right? That won't work because you're stuck as being the individual as well as the manufacturer and designer, right? So you know, if you like the idea of cabinetry and that's the thing you want to run with, okay, cool, great, fantastic, right? You can do that. And then you have to look at, you know, it all in business, it always comes down to who has my money, right?
Yeah.
What am I offering and who has my money? So, for example, you know, who has your money in my hometown in Canada? There's a builder called McKee, right? And they've built, I think, 10 or 15,000 houses in the small city that I live in. They're like the main builder there, right? McKee has your money. If you know, can get them to believe in your design philosophy and the specific cabinets that you have, and right, maybe the person that has your money is the person, you know, the key builder in New York high rises that's doing renovations and rebuilds on these old buildings, and they, you know, maybe they have your money, right? Maybe the best architects in the world have your money, right? Maybe that's who has your money, right? And because they see that your philosophy of cabinetry is so next level, right, that it's just they have to have it, right? And how and how do they get to that? So if we talk about cabinetry specifically, how do they get to that? It's because an influencer, it's because Jay-Z had to have your cabinets, right?
Yeah.
It's because you know, Miley Cyrus renovated her house and demanded that you came in and looked at what cabinets were going to go into her house, and you're on Instagram with Miley Cyrus installing cabinets in her fucking house, right?
And that's why I'm coming back to the, sorry to interrupt, but to the influencer marketing.
Yeah.
How do you get there with this type of product? Because you cannot send a kitchen or bathroom to fucking celebrity, you know, and they're not gonna let you go like in. So that's
here's what, you know, if you are acting as an architect, then it's about landing the key client, right? If you're acting as a cabinet maker, it's about landing the key architect, right? So there are two different approaches, because if you're going to run an architectural firm, then you have to look for someone who is, you know, who's that key contract where they're like, you have to build up your
maker.
Right, it's the decision maker. It's the, you know, it's the rich footballer's wife that, you know, says, "Oh my God, we have to have those cabinets, honey. I'm going to spend $150,000." Blah 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 blah. Right, that's like your ideal client when you're running your architecture firm.
Yes.
Right. So that is the you know, that's on that side. But if you're running a, you know, and you have to decide what business you're running. Are you running an architecture firm or are you running a cabinet making firm? Right? And if you're running a cabinet making firm, then you have to be able to talk to either a bottom up, right? So you start with the architect and you get them to convince the client, or you get to the client and get them to tell the architect. And that's the top-down philosophy, right? So, you know, if we're talking about, you know, influencers and you want to go on that top-down, it's always better to have the boss tell the worker what to do than have the worker convince the boss what to do, right? So if you go to an influencer who's like, hashtag stressed out because they have to do a home renovation, something like that, right? Or hashtag blessed because they just bought their mansion. Then you have the opportunity to maybe give them a free quote and blah blah blah, so that you can like show them what you've got, and you have the opportunity for them to then talk to the architect and say, yo, these cabinets are next level, right? But you have
do that through
go ahead.
Google AdWords, and do you do that through Google AdWords or Facebook, Instagram ads, or do you go out there as well? Do you like?
Well, okay, so the thing that so if we talk about Google AdWords, a famous footballer. Oh, you cut out there. Yeah, a famous footballer is not going to choose who they have to put cabinets in their house based on, Google AdWords. They're going to have their architect tell them, or they're going to come across something on an Instagram story, or they're going to have, they're going to see that you have this influence, right? And they're going to request you because you are the limited edition. You're that one-off. You're that, and I don't know, like if we talk, it comes down to like,
I love that.
why are your cabinets different, right? And you might have to do something fucking crazy with cabinetry, right? You might have to have like, I don't know, gold leaf or fossils or stones or something where it's this next level, completely out there version of cabinetry, and people go, oh my god, I have to have that, right?
Yeah.
So if you can create that, you have to go top down. You're not going to do that through Google AdWords. You're going to do that through finding the opportunity, through being a networker, right? And maybe you get that done by becoming, hands down, without a doubt, the best architect that does kitchens in Melbourne, right? So that when Nathan Chan from Founder wants his kitchen redone, he knows he's got to talk to you. So that when Greta wants hers done, she's talking to you. So that and those are just the entrepreneurial type people, right? But you got to put yourself into a status level where you're on the same page as them, where you're like, I can't do it for another 3 months, and they'll wait for 3 months, right? You never get the hot girl by saying, you're really pretty, can I please buy you a drink? You don't. It doesn't happen, man. It doesn't. You get the hot girl by saying, all right, you seem interesting, I mean, whatever, bye. And then she follows you, right?
Yeah.
You have to have a level of status if you're going to play the status game. If you're going to play world class, you have to act world class. You have to be limited edition. You have to have limited time. You have to be expensive, right? You don't have celebrities rolling up in their fucking Toyota Corollas. They're going for a Bentley they had to wait 9 months for, right?
I love you, man.
It's truth. Like it's the way the world works, and you can work inside of it or you can deny it and fail, right?
Yeah.
If you want to be world class, right? And then there's the idea that if you can get up to that world class level, then you can start to bring yourself down to mass market as you expand your production capabilities, right? Then you can release a special limited edition line that goes to 25 stores around the world, and then you can and then the people who aren't big influencers are the ones who are going to be going, oh my god, I finally got one, I've been waiting a year for these, and they're doing they're doing the unboxings on their cabinets for you, and they're and then you get to run off of the credibility in the marketplace that you've built by being so limited edition, right? So limited edition.
I love that, limited edition.
So
like the concept.
Anyone can get a Timex, not everyone can get a Rolex, right? So that's that's where
That's true.
look. If that's what you want to do, if you really want to have that cabinetry like that, then it's I gotta say, you're probably gonna have to be the Rolex, right? And what does that mean, right? Are
Yeah.
you partnering with Swarovski crystals? Are you, doing some sort of a limited edition brand, collaboration where it's like there's a Bugatti version of fucking, and then you're getting the rappers in there? Like, I don't know, right? But you have to think next level, think about it like, how can you bring cabinets beyond where anyone's brought cabinets before? And then you're going to get all the...
But that's why it doesn't exist here. That's why I started with, everyone is boring competition, I'm this, I'm that, everyone is doing the same thing. So that's my vision of the business, is seeing next level. Like, oh, I do some clothes, that's what I do. It's called over the top. That's always been my philosophy, Mark, is being, people always say that, Jamal, you're over the top. When I meet my clients, I'm a shock for them. They're expecting something, they're expecting
Dude,
someone.
not everyone can handle a
like,
flat brim hat. Like, it's it's a special thing, right?
Yeah.
Oh, dude,
I'm losing
Look at that. Look at that. Look at that, man.
you're big, like you're over. Yeah, no, that's the struggle is. So I understand myself, and in business, if you don't allow people to understand fully what you have to offer, you lose clients. So I've been hesitant in Australia to do that. I've been doing it in France, no problem. But in Australia, the market is slightly different. The builders and everything are running.
Yeah, but you know who's
business.
buying
They
in
are the
Australia?
decision-maker. But Mark,
You know who's spending all the money in Australia? You know why prices are going through the roof in Australia? Asia. Asia's buying right now, and those guys love to flaunt, right? They love to flaunt. And then, if you come across as like, I'm the French guy in Melbourne that's going to sell you cabinets that are worth 10 times what anybody else sells, then you get all of the fucking, the rich kids, and you get the ones who are like, all right, this is a good reinvestment for my property, and you get the ones who get to flaunt that idea that, like, I'm only releasing 10 cabinets in 2019. Do you want to be...
So would you market hardcore? So would you go into like aggressive marketing, high end, over the top, like this super cool image, like rock star? Or
okay, think about it like this. Here's how I look at, if I think about what a cabinet is, right? There's different pieces, right? So there's like the big island. Yeah. And then there's the ones that go up top, and then there's the ones that have the countertop and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Maybe the first pieces that you build are almost like sculptures, right? So, like, imagine that a sculpture takes a long time to build it out, and then it becomes like a centerpiece for an area, right? So maybe your first set of cabinets is... one of those crazy unfoldy things and goes multi-levels, and it takes you like 6 months to put together, and it's like $250,000, and it's like, it's a one-off piece that you're selling as an art piece. Maybe you make cabinets into an art piece. Maybe the island is your first piece that you're commissioning, right? If you start to look at yourself as a cabinet artist, right? Then maybe you create something that someone falls so in love with that they commission an architectural project around it, right? That the entire...
No, that's not my...
That's not what you're doing. What are you doing?
That's not what I'm doing. No. I understand the vision. The problem is, in my experience, the turnover. So you get one client like that, you're lucky. If you have 10 clients like that, you're blessed. And it's super hard to get that and build consistency and cash flow. What I do is the limited edition. I love it. The artist, 100%. So what I do is I'm still very old school. I draw by hand. No one does that here. I come with, pen and paper in 5 minutes. I understand the space. I have the vision. People have the sketch, and they are like in love with it. I sell a piece of paper. So it starts with a A3, and people are in love, and they don't even ask me how much. After 5 minutes, if they don't tell me, Jamal, we want to work with you, I know that this is not my clientele.
Okay.
I go into a place, people have the thing, they're like, we've never seen anyone drawing like you. That's amazing. We are contemplating what you're doing. We are in love with it.
Okay, that's good, man. That like look, that's your artistic process, right? So you have to double down on your artistic process, right? So the and how long does it take you to go from drawing to, like, how many projects can you handle at a time? Let's talk about what your capacity is as an artist.
In terms of producing design,
producing
cabinetry.
Yeah, you start with the design, right? And then you have to oversee the production of the cabinetry, right? And like, how many could you comfortably, without stressing yourself out, while keeping your artistic integrity, like how many of those could you handle in a year?
I could get a new client every day, like in the process of going somewhere, understanding the space, designing it, selling it, and putting everything in the pipeline to be, built. Because there's a timeline. So the clients of the Monday, we're in April. The clients are going to be, I want my kitchen by the end of the month, so my renovation done in 2 months. But the client of Tuesday is going to be, I'm happy to work with you, but I'm not in a hurry, so I'm happy to install in 6 months. So there is the first time, which is the sales process, which is, people come on your website, scarcity, boom, boom, I want to work with him, I buy, I click, that's it. And some people are happy to wait, they want their product in 2 days. Some people are happy to wait 20 when they buy from Amazon.
Look, what makes you sexier, man? If you say yes to everybody or if you reject everybody? What makes you sexier as a person? If you are constantly saying yes to everybody or if you're rejecting almost everybody, right?
I love saying no.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. You just told me you can bring on a new client every day. What I'm saying is don't even leave that open, right? Don't even leave that open. What I'm saying is you have to create a persona that if you get to the level where you get to the house and you sketch, they've already bought. Right? That's where you as a brand, as a persona, that's what you have to get to. And eventually you can scale up beyond that. But like let's get into a real quick question here, all right? This is what I call my big red button question, okay? So let's just say there's a big red button right next to you, like right there, right? You push that button, you fast forward 365 days. Everything is going great. What does it look like? What are you doing with your time? How much money are you making? Give me an idea of what this, if you fast forward 365 days and like, what does that look like? You're the best year of your life, man.
Yeah. 365 days. I'm getting very busy. 1 year, I hope that I already have people buying the concept. In terms of money, we're talking about millions. That's the potential of this business. Now, 1, 2, 3, 5. I've done 40 in a year. To explain you the background, it's just depends on the size of the structure and the people you bring on board, salesperson and everything. I want to do it differently. I don't want to be a showroom with a 15 fucking salesperson on the road selling contract. I don't want that. I want people like me that will be able to sell satisfaction over selling just the back-to-back sales. So when I said I can bring one per day, it's the ability and capacity of the design production. Now, I love the idea of the limited edition. I love the exclusivity. I love all those things. And what I've been really loving in the starter skills course is, this pre-launch, those pricings. I'm doing this place, my place, a showroom. because I want to work around something exclusive. I want to be able to meet people and build this momentum where, all right, Jamal, we want to work with you. And like you said, being able to say to people, thanks for that, but you will have to wait 6 months because I cannot take your order. So in 1 year, we're talking about million mark.
So in 1 year you hit the 1 million mark. Okay,
right.
So let's talk about that. All right. In 1 year you hit the 1 million mark. So what that means to me is that you have to have a product that I can go in and buy, but you as a service is something I'm probably going to have to wait for. Right? Does that make sense? Yeah. Where it's like I can walk in and I can be like, there's I'm going to use your name as like the names of the cabinet setups, right? So me as an architect, I walk in and I'm like, I want the Jamal 2, right? And I want the Jamal 2 in these measurements, and that's what I want. I'm going to just buy them, and you can be like, all right, they're ready in 2 weeks. Cool. And then another guy walks in and he's like, well, I want Jamal to design my kitchen. Like, all right, well, you're going to have to wait until October for him to be able to come in and do a drawing, right? So that you can then have that passed off to your architectural team and have them, work through that process, right? There's a difference between the product and the person, right? You become very exclusive, but you have, you commission out, right? Like a Ferrari, like a Ferrari takes a long time to commission and make. And if I wanted to talk to like the head designer of Ferrari and have him design my own car just as me, it would cost me an absolute fucking fortune. But luckily, they make cars that are really good, so I can go in and I can say, all right, I want that one, right? And I can buy it off the shelf, right? That's what I think would be an interesting path forward to. Do you agree with that?
It is.
Okay, cool. So then
100%.
Then you have two paths that you have to take. One is you have to think about a product, that first set of cabinets, right? And maybe there's no color options. Maybe there's no new topping options. Maybe there's no options on it at all because it's your pure artistic vision of what a kitchen needs to be version 1, right? And that's something that is reproducible. It's something that you can have a manufacturing plant pump out 100 of them or 1,000 of them, right? There's that side of it that you're going to be able to feed the sales of that because of the fact that you have brought yourself down to a limited edition, small number of really high profile opportunities for the kitchen renovation design philosophy, right? Where you basically level up and you're only talking to the best, right? You charge more than anybody else, right? You do. So you got this, man. You charge more than anybody. I don't. I'm actually pretty cheap. Like I do these calls for $500 a pop, right? But it's because
thanks God.
You charge more than anyone else. You do fewer commissions than anyone else, right? Maybe you limit yourself to quarterly commissions, right? Or a bi-monthly commission. So you only do 6 commissions per year, and you call them commissions, right? You're like, you commission me for this part of your house, and I will do this part of your house only, and I'm only going to do 6 of them this year. So you get Jamal commission number 1 of 2019, right? And then you're super fucking limited edition, right? And then you get Architecture Digest coming in, and then you get Netflix coming in with the hottest new apartment in fucking Melbourne, taking the videos of it and talking about it being the owner's super stoked about it because he's like, yo, this is Jamal commission. Yo, you got Jamal commission number 1 2019. Are you serious? How did you even get that? And then maybe you're booked up for 5 years, but everyone's so excited about it that the ones who can't get you are buying your product, right? Is that a model that could work for you?
Yeah, I love that. That's 100%. I had a client last week. I was drawing, and she said to me, "I want you to sign the drawings," and I said, "No. However, I'm going to sign the contract." So, I I have this demand of people.
Do
I
it
never
though. Like,
signed
do
my
it, man.
drawing.
Here's the thing: is that if you're only gonna do like 6 of them or 10 of them per year, like put a set number on it, right? And give.
But I don't, because I need to do like fucking one per day.
Yeah, but this is the problem: is that you're cheapening yourself. You're cheapening your brand, right? You're making yourself less valuable by doing more.
Yeah.
Right? You're going to stress yourself out. You're going to burn yourself out. You're going to stop caring as much, right? You can't be a volume operation, right? Your product line can be a volume operation all day long, right? Your product line can be a volume operation, no problem. You can have the Jamal tiles, and you can have the Jamal 4, and you can have the Jamal red line, and you can have, right? You can have all of that shit on your product line, because those are the things that other architects are going to take over. But when you actually take it upon yourself to take responsibility for the commissioning of this kitchen, right? It's a deep process. It's something where like the first picture is signed, and it's framed, and you there's a signature on the piece, and like it's but if you're doing 1,000 of them a year, then you're fighting the same fight as everyone else, man.
But that's why I'm never signing them, because I'm like, what's the point? Like, I don't do drawings to do drawings, and I never signed them, so I have a very good closing rate, so most of them are sold. But I was thinking actually to include that in the package, having like kind of this piece of art of the project and work around that. But I really like
So here's the thing that has to happen too, is because you have to take care of you. Right? If you're going to be an artist for the rest of your life, you have to really, and the thing is, it's got to be stressful, like pumping out these drawings and like doing the low commission stuff, and like everyone loves it, but there's only so much of you, man. You're going to get pulled apart, right? So you have to level yourself up. You have to realize that your value is in the philosophy that you have, and your philosophy can be represented through your products, and you use the commissioning of kitchens to give yourself that artistic leverage to be able to create better products. It's almost like you just dip your toe into keeping yourself with the work so that you can go and spend the rest of your time making sure that your products kick ass. Right? Then it fits. It's a congruent story where it's like, look, I could do more of these, but then my products would suffer. Right? And that's how you become like the Hunter Douglas. Is to an extent. I mean, they're a little bit more industrial, but you do it like from an artistic point of view, and you can level that shit up, man. You just level that shit up, as in like I only do these commissions because it allows me to keep the artistic juices flowing and stay on site, so that I'm capable of creating better products, because my products are for millions. My commissions are for me. Right? My commissions are for me. I commission a project and I will say no to 25 people until I get the feeling that this is the right one. And this is the right one because I know that there's going to be a really interesting line that's going to come out of it. Right? And it could be something as... Go ahead.
And would you team up with magazines and stuff like that when you have your project? Would you like... Because I'm getting featured in a magazine next week in Australia. I had an interview in a national review for kitchen and bathrooms. So would you recommend to choose certain project and like start working with a magazine saying, all right, I have this coming up. Like, would you be interested in doing a photo shoot or whatever, or something like that? Or would you
need to have media? Right? And you can either create it yourself, and you can have your own Instagram, and you can have your own stories, and maybe your Instagram stories are like part of your daily process, right? And maybe you become like this inspiration to other people who like look up to you and would like to do the types of things that you're doing, right? So they're the ones who are following you and going crazy for you, and that's how you get to, you have this one fucking Instagram post that goes viral and whatever, right? But you want the media, because you want to have your face out there. But what you don't want to have is the media saying, he did 732 projects last year, right? It's like you want to project your limitedness. You want to project that idea of, and this could be, this could be the equivalent of an epiphany that you had where, you were working really hard and you were getting really stressed out and you're not feeling it and you were confused and suddenly you had this call and there was clarity as to what your future is supposed to be, and that's why you decided to stop. And that's why you decided to go down to X number of commissions per year, because you saw that the only way you're going to be able to serve the architectural world, the best way it can be served, is through releasing a product line. And the only way you can release a product line is by limiting the number of pieces, actual homes that you do every year, right? And if that's the story that the magazine has, then that's the story that the magazine runs with. And I don't know, man, this might be connecting with you, this might not, right?
Yeah, it clicks. That's why I grabbed the opportunity when I had your message. I remember I woke up and I was like, shit, I have to do that now, And so you're the phone call and you're the guidance, because I'm used to give advice and I'm used to be, the mentor guy that, you did business since you like baby. And that's actually a very good thing for me to be able to ask questions to someone and feel like it's bringing value to my vision. And because it's hard. I always had my vision in my business, and finding someone that's going to be able to tell me, Jamal, like, all right, that's good, but that could be better. And today it's a real, you're going to make me, I'm not sleeping tonight. It's 11 and I'm going to be like, shit, my website is crap.
Well, look, you're going to have to, before you do any actual changes, right, take a bit of time and do everything offline, right? Get your vision clear. Get your story clear. Get your mission clear. Understand your why. Understand where you want to be in 10 years so that you know what to do tomorrow, right? So if your vision in 10 years is to have 50 Jamal shops around the world that are all selling your products, and you're doing 6 different commissions in different parts of the world that you charge $100,000 just for your service, products not included, to go in and do that, and then on top of that the design and the products and all of that kind of stuff, right? I mean, then if that's where you want to be in 10 years, then you're gonna have to come back to the now and understand what that means for your mission, your vision, your values. You're gonna have to understand what that means for what your website is going to say to people. You may take it offline for a week. You may take a week or a month off and go to a retreat with no internet, just so that you can draw and write with a pencil and paper, and you can be disconnected and you can be free to truly plan out what the rest of your life is. Because if what you want is to have impact, you can't do it while you're running, man. You're gonna have to take a moment of just you, right? Where it's like you have that chance to like disconnect and really, and it could happen just at nights, right? Where it's like you just have these moments to yourself at night, and then you have to go hustle during the day. Or if you're in a really privileged position, you could maybe go and take off to a retreat. And in that retreat, you have the opportunity to go through the emotional and spiritual and intellectual process of understanding that each of us has the power to make a dent in the universe, right? And then you just have to know what your dent is going to be.
Yeah, 100%.
That make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
200%. 1 million.
Good. I got shivers. I got shivers running up my spine thinking about it, man.
Yeah, man. Like I have goosebumps everywhere, and I'm like, shit. That's the first time someone is talking to me like that.
I hear you, brother.
but that's great, So appreciate. I don't come from a entrepreneurship, family background, or whatever, always been seen negative. Like you have ambition, you have skills and a vision. So 99% of people in my life like saw me like a arrogant instead of ambitious. When you know your worth and you're not scared of saying, you know what, I'm not ashamed of being the best. People look at you, like the 99% of people look at you
Fuck
like,
the
oh,
haters.
you dickhead, you think you're better than everybody. Yeah, and I'm like, I don't think I'm better. I just said I know. And that's, I have this 0.001% of clients that understand it. And when I meet them, I have this click saying like, yes, I love it. And people love the way I work. And limited edition, 100%, reducing the number of clients, 100%. And that makes sense, it just makes sense. And yeah, thank you very much. That's, yeah.
Good. That's it. That's,
You know.
You have to be
that's
you, and like inside of you, it's not about arrogance, it's about authenticity, right? You're not doing any of this with malicious intent. You're not trying to lift yourself up to push other people down, right? You're trying to change the game.
Never.
Right? So if you're really about trying to change the game, then you have to act in a way that is game changing. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's it. That's it. I think I've been influenced by America and all those things where, the culture of the mindset, where you're good, we push you and, show me what you're made of. Back in France, it wasn't the same thing. If you're good, young, dark skin, that's not always the best image.
Yeah.
I feel like, yeah, let's be honest. Like I've been successful since my young age, but I've never been called successful. I was called drug dealer. Why? Because you've been at school, you're successful, you're making money, you have great clients. It's not possible that this guy has like something different. And yeah, I have this certain type of client that, you wear hearing, you bracelet, you're a fancy guy, and they just say, you know what? I want my house just like you are.
That's
like,
it, man.
Different.
You externalize like your the way you are is the way that you make the world, right? And I mean, like, I'm basic.
Exactly.
Right? Like when Gary Vaynerchuk says I'm basic, like he means it, right? Like he just uses normal clothes and like all this kind of stuff. Like I'm real basic, I'm real direct, and like that's, I like to do things that are really fun and like make my give me the goosebumps, right? And like that's the stuff that I like to do, right? You like to make things beautiful, right? You were born like that. I'm not beautiful, man. I don't have that. Right? I don't have that. But I have, I have the energy of making it so that it's like, the way I put it is like I'm good at like extrapolating the future, right? I can see the thing that you want and I can show you what the end looks like so that you can figure out what to do right now, right? That's the skill I've got. So
what do you see? What do you see? What would be your one thing? That's my question moment. From what I've been sharing with you and the struggle of going in one direction, what would be your one and only advice on creating something
for you
successful?
Do you, right? But like, don't look at it like this, man. If you're gonna be LeBron doesn't play 5 games a day, right? He's there practicing his art, right? He's there taking care of his diet. He's there doing his exercises. He's there like he was on a podcast with him and his trainer. I think they did a Tim Ferriss podcast, I think. Anyways, where he talks about like how disciplined he is on a daily basis to be him. Right? Like it's not that, going the extra mile is really lonely at the end of that extra mile. It's really easy to like drop back and just be mediocre. You got to be you to the extreme, right? You have to just put in the effort and put in the time and have the balls to say no when you're supposed to say no, and have the guts to look for the things that you have to look for, and put yourself into the position where you're going to be surrounded by people that are going to appreciate you for you. And that's going to be the artist and the, those are going to be the artists and the entrepreneurs and like the, those are the world shakers, man. If you need to be a world shaker, you got to surround yourself with them, because they're the ones who are going to say, yo, I got to have this guy. I got. So that's it, brother. That's it. Just be authentic and figure out where you want to be in 10 years. Yeah. And I'm going to, this whole thing is being recorded, right? So I'll bring it back to you. You get to watch this again and again. Okay? You get to take this and really, take the lessons from it. But you're going to have to write your own story, right?
I will. I never make promises, Mark. I've been saying that for 32 years. I'm 32 years. I never make promises, but what I can promise you right now is this phone call is going to take next level my business. And it's not just the video that will remind me, it's my brand, because, one day YouTube or whatever is going to be gone. But this moment, this hour of my life, and that's never going to go. And in the part of, here and the future, you're going to be associated to this huge, massive success, because this is going to happen. There's no way. I wouldn't bother you, Portugal, Melbourne. This is going to happen. And I'm grateful for that. That's, an opportunity coming from nowhere. Wasn't expecting it. I believe, universe and law of attraction. And yeah, man, one day you're going to receive a
You're going to do it, man. You're going to be the one doing the work. All that happened was that there was a little bit of a spark from a guy who could see the possibilities. That's it. All right? You're going to do all the work. It's going to be a shit ton of work, but you're going to get it done.
Awesome, man.
There you go. That's something I can learn from you, man. I don't have that physical discipline. I'm like, I got to get into that. Awesome.
I send you some
awesome,
tips,
buddy. It's discipline, man. It's discipline. So, okay, well, is there anything else you wanted to cover? Are we good? We're good?
Yeah, we're good.
Awesome.